Wall Street Journal editorial board member Steve Moore joins us now via Skype from Washington to talk about why the post office is losing $25 million a day and how the Senate is about to make things worse. Welcome, Steve.
Hi, Mary.
$25 million a day is no small bean, Steve. Wow. What is the Senate proposing to do and why?
Well, you know, the problem for the Postal Service, Mary, is that it is a declining industry. The volume of mail declines every year because we do so much more of our commerce with email, not with snail mail. And so, you know, within probably 10 or 15 years, there probably won't be traditional mail service any longer as we do all our mail over the internet. So what's happened is that this is an industry that's losing money. The Postal Service is losing $25 million a day. And what the interesting wrinkle in this story is that the Postal Service and the Board of Governors and the Postmaster General have come up with some pretty gutsy reforms, Mary, to try to put this thing back into the black, at least for now. And the Senate, the United States Senate, is telling this agency they can't reform themselves. They can't cut costs, and it's really quite an outrage.
That's incredible, Steve. So tell us, what does the Post Office want to do?
Well, the Postal Service, the first thing they want to do is end Saturday delivery of mail. They say that will save them several billions of dollars. They also want to do things like reform their pension systems. They want to get, believe it or not, Mary, a year ago, the Postal Service caved into the unions and they gave these workers no layoff contracts. Now this is an industry that's sinking as fast as you can talk, and they had these no layoff contracts. They want to get out of those contracts now and have the ability to downsize their workforce so that they have, so they can save money. And the Senate said, no, you can't lay off people. And the reason for that, Mary, is these are very powerful postal worker unions that have a lot of clout in Washington.
So that's incredible, Steve. So is this a bipartisan effort to stymie reform? Are Democrats and Republicans to blame?
It was mostly the Democrats because they count on the votes and the money from the postal union and the letter carriers. But you know, the Republicans are to blame here too. One of the things the Postal Service wants to do is close a lot of they have something like 30,000 post offices around the country, Mary, and they said we got to close at least 10,000 of these in rural areas that don't get very much use, and you could just use a 7-Eleven or a McDonald's to take the postage stamps. And the Republicans in a lot of these rural areas said, no, you can't close down these facilities. We need these in our towns.
Steve, we only have about a minute left. Very quickly,
yeah.
What do you say to people who worry that, well, these postal workers, they won't be able to find jobs, and consumers, they won't have the services that they need on Saturdays or for snail mail delivery if we close down the Postal Service? What's the answer to that?
Well, you know, obviously, we'd all like to have 6-day or 7-day service. It used to be the Postal Service delivered twice a day. The problem is they just can't do it any longer. This is an industry that is a dinosaur industry. We got to cut our losses. The alternative to these reforms, Mary, is to force taxpayers to pay more and more taxes. This was a $34 billion bailout to the Postal Service from U.S. taxpayers. We can't continue to bail out every failing industry in America.
And I think if you let the private market work, competition might throw up a service that's even more efficient than the Postal Service.